Hi everyone, welcome to the latest Siddiqui Ramblings podcast. As the name suggests, the ramblings of the Siddiqui boys. You may have seen us on TV. I'm Basit Siddiqui.
I'm Sid Siddiqui.
I'm Umar Siddiqui.
So hopefully you'll join us every week just to hear our general thoughts on the world as it is and our little ideas about life in general. If you want to get involved, then feel free to. You can email us on the siddiquisgb@gmail.com. Right, let's get going. Right, hi everyone. Welcome to this week's Ramblings. Umar, I think you've chosen the topic for this week, haven't you?
Yeah, this week I thought we'd talk about transportation, or specifically getting from A to B. How do you convey your fine selves from one point to another, be it work, shopping, if you're going anywhere, what's the best way, and just some of the perils and pitfalls and the benefits of travelling, whether we like it.
Good choice of topic. Is there a reason why you chose this one?
There's a very good reason. The whole thing stems from, on Tuesday, I had a flat battery because I left my car lights on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Bassett came to the rescue with some jump leads. Well, he didn't come with jump leads, but he came and we jumped the car. And whilst I was sitting there waiting for him, which wasn't long actually, you were very quick. You were only about 5-10 minutes.
I had Bonnie Tyler's I Need a Hero on in my
Did
car,
you?
and I think that really helped.
Yeah.
I just drove. I mean, I ignored all speed limits, if I'm honest. I just drove to get to you.
Bad, sorry.
Not really.
Yeah. But he arrived like my knight in shining armour.
Yeah.
And we got it done. But whilst I was waiting, I was thinking, God, it's a pain, isn't it? Having a car and having to make sure that everything is off when you leave it. And
Absolutely.
But this is something of the past, actually, flat battery. You don't hear a great deal of this these days, in this day and age. So I suppose Umar is still a few years behind, isn't he? With the technology, I suppose, or the... I don't know. When was the last time you had
A flat battery?
Yeah.
I think it's been a good while,
Yeah.
actually. We did have a flat battery on Mel's car, but that's because it'd been standing still for ages, and they do tend to just die after a while, don't they? But Umar, you go into damsel in distress mode at least once a year. You have your annual, save me, someone recharge me.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. Because my car actually tells me that I've left something on. But I couldn't hear it. It's
Because
makes a
battery
series of
was
beeps.
low.
Yeah.
No, battery was low.
No, battery was low. When I left the car, it beeped to tell me that you've left your lights on.
Yeah.
Turn them off. But
I've
I
got
didn't
that.
even hear it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because where I park is quite busy, so the sound of traffic must have drowned out those beeps.
So you were like really keen to get to work, weren't you? I was
Mm.
like, forget any noises. I've got to get to work.
Yeah. It's usually because I'm running a bit late as well.
Right? Oh shit, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
sacked.
But as I was walking to the car at the end of the day, I heard this alarm going off. And I thought, that's a house alarm. It's really loud.
Yeah.
This is the thing about car alarms. They're very loud and they're almost over the top, aren't they? Very hysterical.
Yeah.
And as I got close to my car, I thought, oh crap, that's my car.
Yeah.
Somebody's either tried to get into it
Yeah.
or the battery's died. Because what my car does is when the power runs right down,
Yeah.
the car, I think, unlocks and the siren starts blaring
Oh wow.
to let
But
you know.
But surely you still have battery power if it's got enough juice to have an alarm going off.
This is exactly the thing. I was thinking, well, that's wasting battery.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, it's advertising to all and sundry around that, look, I'm opening this car.
Yeah.
Help yourselves now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can find jump leads to start it,
Yeah.
you can drive off in it.
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
But cars and me don't really get on. I would much prefer walking or using public transport.
Mm.
It would probably mean getting up a bit earlier.
Yes.
But what are your guys' thoughts on your cars and using them? And
Yeah.
do you like it or do you?
Well, my personal experience in the past used to happen, and it is quite a traumatic time when the battery flattens, because you think the world has ended. How are you going to sort this out?
Yeah.
And usually there's bad news, even if it's drained because you left the lights on, or if the battery's on its last leg, so you have to replace it. Yeah, it's not a good thing. And in my case, now obviously I totally rely on the car for work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to get to my workplace by any other means if
Yeah.
I didn't have a car. So yes, very important to me. But of course, if you're a member as well or somebody like that, that
Yes.
helps as well. So
Yeah, what are your thoughts on being the member of like AA or RAC? Because I was talking after this thing happened. I talked to somebody at work. He says, "No, you don't need that. You've got friends, you've got family." I said, "Yeah, but I don't want to always have to rely on them."
Yeah.
And it could be a major problem.
You remember that phase where I was horribly, horribly cheap, and I would go out of my way of not buying a car? Because if I think about it, I had the Corsa, then I had your Vectra, which you pretty much just gave me,
yeah,
and then I treated the Vectra so badly that it passed its MOT 1 week, and the following week I was taking it in and as scrap because something really major had gone on it, and I got 50 quid for it. But I drove that to death. And then I went through that phase of having a different car every month, didn't I? Because, Dad, do you remember who my car salesman was?
Yeah, our famous butcher.
Yeah. So basically, listeners, I went for a year of getting cars. And instead of using a reputable salesman, Dad's meat man, Dad's butcher, on a side street not far from Uma's house was
Well, he's a part-time car salesperson as well.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, although the cars didn't last long, there was always an excuse for something not working.
Yeah.
I remember finding a beef joint in the back of one of the cars. So that was quite good, yeah.
Yeah, and his famous part exchange was that I'll give you meat supply for 6 months or something, rather than paying you for it.
Yeah, a shoddy car and then like some niblets. I was happy with that. But
I can imagine you taking it to a mechanic and going, "Oh, that's why it's not working. There's a sausage in the exhaust pipe."
Yeah, but yeah, so I went through that phase, and I would not have survived without the AA.
Yeah.
I think I was on first name basis with the drivers then and the rescue people.
Well, that's the best way to get your money's worth out of the AAs, because most of the time, in fact, I've been the member God knows how many years now, and I think I only called them out perhaps 3 times in entire my life history of cars. One time was when I put some petrol in the diesel car.
Yeah.
That was one, and even then that cost me. They said, yes, we'll come and rescue you, but because it's not a accidental thing, it's your own doing, so we'll charge you. I think I paid £300 for not only that, because you can't start the car.
That's it. Yeah. Had you not started it?
No. I realized, because the sound is different. I don't know, well, you wouldn't know if you used to put in diesel and you start putting petrol, it's a very watery sound of fuel going in.
Oh, really?
There.
What,
Yeah.
so when you're filling up at the pump?
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
So as soon as I've done it, I knew I've done it, so I stopped there.
Yeah.
But by that time it was too late.
Oh, wow.
So they came and they rescued me, no problem. And they took it back to the drive here, and then they left it outside for another car to come, or other vehicle to come the following day to drain the engine oil completely.
Holy crap.
So I had to pay for the contaminated oil as well.
Jesus.
So it's not a good mistake to make.
It's
Well,
it's the
mistakes
easiest
are never
mistake
good to make, but
yeah,
it's
It's
quite
just
expensive.
it's such an easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never made it, but it is an easy mistake, isn't it?
There should be something on the petrol pump nozzle that tells you that you can't even put petrol in this.
Yes, you're right. The modern cars, very modern cars, have got that facility. They wouldn't accept the nozzle other than the right
Diesel
fuel.
one. That's good.
But going on to your original point, is it worth having like a? I think yes, every penny.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you not got it?
I've not got it now.
You
I did give them a ring while I was waiting for you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, I'm stuck here. I think the battery's died. What's the situation? What can I do? Well, they said you can join them now. I think it was £140 for the whole year, and then we can come out.
Yeah.
So I thought, because I was, when something goes wrong with your car, you immediately assume there's a major malfunction. But I knew with this case that it could have only been the battery.
Yeah.
No.
It's not like the engine.
But my advice, Umar, would be to join as soon as possible, honestly. Because you had what they call gypsies, the warning already, so just do it. £140 man of your
Stature.
means is nothing.
But aren't you then admitting that you're a bit of a wally
Yes.
Why?
when you join the AA?
Nah.
No. Why?
And then the best thing is your logic becomes brilliant as well, because when you know you've got the AA, you don't even try and do stuff. Like changing air freshener.
Yeah.
I don't change air freshener. I ring AA and go, hey, my car stinks. Come change my air
No,
freshener.
I don't think they do that.
No, but a few weeks ago, I told you I had a flat tyre.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this classic thing where it's that locking nut thing with the
Yeah.
alloys, and I don't have a clue how stupid
Yeah.
locking nut works. And I thought I'd got it this time. I was convinced I knew what I was doing. So I tried changing it, couldn't do it, tried for about 10 minutes, and then got the AA guy out. And then I made him a sandwich, but the bacon sandwich burnt in the
Yeah.
oven. So he was like, it was just a really bad day.
Yeah.
But it was just the whole idea of, I didn't really care that I couldn't do it because I knew that I had AA. And you reach that point, you kind of admit you're a wally, but you get over it very quickly.
Yes.
Because if you're paying for a service, you might as well.
So you're saying you become quite complacent then when you join AA because you know that you've got a backup.
Only with regards to the car, though.
Yeah.
I think that's all right.
Do you ever phone AA and go, hello,
Hiya.
So, going back to the mode of transportation, those are some of the perils of driving a car. But it's essential, isn't it, really?
For us guys, it is, yeah. For us. What's the biggest vehicle you've driven? The biggest
Sorry, biggest one?
vehicle?
I had that famous Pajero, you remember?
Oh, you 4x4, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was big.
It was quite good. It's very expensive
Yeah,
to run.
sucked oil like nobody's business, isn't it?
Doing about 15 miles to a gallon.
Yeah. That's painful, that is.
That was in the first time I had midlife crisis. I think that was the
Your first of 12, I think, we're
Yeah,
on now,
yeah,
aren't we? Yeah.
yeah.
That's quite good. I
Must
love
be.
that car, though. That was a cool car.
Oh God, yeah. When you were driving, people were looking at it, weren't they?
Yeah.
And it was dripping with chrome everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? It was a cool car. You had to stand on a ladder to wash the roof as well, didn't you?
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, there is a ladder with them, isn't it, at the back?
Was there a ladder with
Yes.
it? That's
Yeah.
a car, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't got ladders with it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What's the biggest? A van. I've driven a van once.
You do feel cool when you drive in
Yeah.
the van as well, don't you?
Yeah. Because you can see everything. Can't you?
Yeah.
You've got a very good view of the road and everything. Other than what's behind you. You can't see anything.
No, behind you, but
Yeah.
like you know, people are afraid of you when they drive around you. What you drove when we moved to this house? Didn't you drive like a lorry?
Yes.
You did, didn't you?
Well,
Like
they say it's a
moving lorry.
box van, isn't it? Still a furniture van. It's
Yeah, but
still,
that was probably
you
the
can-
biggest thing I remember.
Yeah, you
driving,
can still drive at your own normal license. You can
Yeah.
drive that.
Yeah.
It's tonnage of some sort, isn't it? So you can't exceed above that.
Mel's sister, when we moved from
Oh, yeah.
where was it? I can't remember. I was doing a big move anyway, and Mel's sister worked for a florist. The pinkest van you've ever seen. So I was getting loads of wolf whistles using this van, and then I wind down the window. People go,
Yeah, but you know where you went wrong there.
What?
You should have had a blonde wig on.
I should have, yeah. I should have gone whole hog.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
lippy on and everything. Yeah,
Implants.
yeah. I was going to go for it, but I thought there's not enough time.
Trim your
Yeah.
beard just a
Yeah,
little bit, not too much.
not too-
So, I mean, for moving house, obviously, you've got to have some vehicle, some transportation.
Yeah.
But how far would you go to think, I don't need my car for this, I can walk this?
Or if
Yeah.
there was a better alternative.
Yes.
Yeah.
By better, I mean cheaper and
Yeah.
same convenience as you would have your own
Yeah.
car. Very few places, I would imagine, these days. Unless you're a shopkeeper and you live above the shop, then
Yes.
I think that's the only time I would think.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
still need a van or something to bring the merchandise, don't you?
See, I think Dad relies on his car a lot more than me and you.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
we use train. I
Yes.
mean, say if I'm going to London, I use the train more often than not. Even
Yeah.
Birmingham, because I hate driving around cities.
Oh, I would do that. I wouldn't. I used to drive to Birmingham, but not anymore now.
Yeah.
Because I think train is a much better option.
Especially Birmingham. Birmingham makes no sense.
Yeah.
Is it that Spaghetti Junction?
Yeah.
That's in Birmingham, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Birmingham I don't get. I wouldn't
Yeah.
drive in Birmingham. Birmingham confuses me.
It is, yeah.
But I'd say also, Dad, because your job, the nature of your job, you drive from place to place. Whereas me and Umar, once we're at our job, we just set up camp
My
until
car
we get
is
home.
part of my profession.
yeah.
My job. One of my duties is to travel to
Yeah.
the sites. So, yeah.
I hope you don't mind me saying, Dad, you know, a few years ago something came in, didn't it, as a method of slowing people down? And it didn't sit well with you, did it? Do you want to tell us the story about that?
Yeah, I can tell you. That story, I'm not proud of it, but still perhaps lessons to be learned for others. Don't speed. One lesson straight away.
Yeah.
Because the camera will catch you.
Mhm.
And I did, it was, I don't know why, when I get into the car, I'm in a different mode altogether. I know I've got to drive it, and somehow your brain is geared up to, if it's a red light, you stop. It doesn't matter whether you're thinking or not, you stop.
Yeah.
A similar thing. But things like cameras or what speed you're doing is sort of become secondary. So you sort of aim at not killing anybody on the road, or not crossing red lights. The rest is sort of, sideline. So I had this habit of speeding in areas where I should be, say, 30, and I was doing not a great deal, probably 35, 36.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will catch me. And I ended up having 3 points, which was maximum 9 points. And I was only 1 point away from being banned.
From your license. But I remember, like at the time, we were really worried.
Yeah.
I was.
Dad had to put post-it notes on his car saying, don't speed. But you think by that many points he would have got it.
That was before we had the TomTom of this one.
Yeah.
Which will tell you where the cameras are.
You put that post-it note over the speedometer, though, so you had no idea what speed you were actually doing.
Which doesn't really help.
Yeah, it was on the sort of, by the ignition key and the door handle.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, Dad, I think in your defence, I mean, you'd gone how many years? I mean, what decade did you actually start driving in?
No, it wasn't. It's changing the route. When I changed my working route, my base from City Hospital to Babington. That was the one. And which is A6, and you got 3 sets of speed limits. So you have 30, you have 40, you have 30, you have 40 again. So you don't know where you are with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not making an excuse.
No, but even that, I'm not giving you an excuse. But at the same time, when I was learning to drive, I had always been prepared for, because my instructor had told me, speed cameras, you've got to make sure that you follow them. So it was ingrained in me. But you'd gone, you're a different generation. You'd gone years and years and years. Speed cameras weren't even a thing.
Yeah.
So for someone to get used to that, I think I'd really struggle to get, and as I say, I don't speed. But then everyone goes like the occasional 1 or 2 miles.
Well, that was the case with myself, because I was never in, say, 50s or 40s.
No, exactly.
It was always below 40s in 30 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing was there to police it when you were younger. So for your generation to get used to that, it was really difficult,
Do you think the fine and the penalty should be like kind of index linked? So depending on how far you're going over the speed limit determines how much money they fine you. Or how many points?
I think there is a thing to that. If you're going crazy over the top, then forget it. You haven't got a chance.
They can ban you.
They can ban you,
But then you've got that speed awareness thing as well, haven't you? That I'm pretty ashamed to admit that I've had to go on before. But come on, in my defence, though, I'm sorry. I was going 50 on the motorway. Okay. It was a 50-mile-hour on a Sunday on the M1.
Yeah.
And I was going like 55 or something. I think Kings of Leon was on in my car, and the shot of me on the camera was like me singing. It wasn't good.
Yeah, that awareness thing is wonderful. And guess what happened? Because I did go on one of those as well.
Were you at the same one as me, or were we a different one?
No, a different one. Because this speed business with me and the speed has been going on for about 15, 20 years now. Yeah. And no sooner I got rid of my 9 points. 3 months later, I had another 3 points.
Well, you've not let your lesson at all, have you?
So I had a letter from whoever it is to say, here's the option. You can either pay the fine and 3 points, or you can pay the fine still, but go to
speed awareness.
Yeah. So I said, no, that's a better option. I want to keep my license clean. So I went there, and guess what happened? A week later.
God knows.
A week later.
A week later.
That's got to be some kind of record.
You need to be arrested. I didn't know this. You know when I said that, you mind talking about it? I meant like keep it to a low level.
Yeah.
I'm going to edit so much of this out now.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, I got that, and I thought, oh my God. But then I was hoping they must still be lenient and send me another one of those.
You only allowed one.
The speed awareness didn't work for you this time. Yeah. Perhaps you weren't paying attention. We'll give you a second chance. But no.
They
slapped a big...
It's almost like it's spitting in their faces. Yeah. Like a week later. It's like almost like you drove out of that place going, screw you guys.
Yeah. It's almost like the information hadn't actually embedded itself into your brain yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have used that as an excuse.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, Dad, you walk fast as well, don't you?
Yes, I do.
If there was fines for walking, you definitely did slap a fine on you for walking fast.
Yeah. That's right. With short legs, I do walk quite.
Yeah. Because when we were the other day, and you just like marched off that fair that we were at.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? He does go for it.
You almost lapped us around the circuit.
Well, can you imagine Mom, how she feels when with her? She really gets frustrated with me. Think, well, where are you going? What's wrong
why
with
is
you?
it a mission, honestly?
Sorry.
And I think it's all stems to the human nature of people want to get from A to B very quickly.
Yeah. They don't know what they're going to do when they're at B.
Yeah, no.
They spend ages waiting for
Yeah.
the other people, but at the same time, at least they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a race with themselves, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Well, walking is part of the whole thing, isn't it? When you're walking, it's not just for the sake of walking aimlessly. It's always aim at the end of it. You got to go and complete a task. So that's the reason, probably. You walk fast to go there, do the job, walk fast back home, and job's done. So I think it's just being efficient, super efficient in my case.
But not when when you go out, like, obviously Sunday, Mel goes to her mum's house and takes Amelia with her.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll go home, have some food, like a lot of chicken, and then I'll get bored with myself once I've done like a bit of schoolwork and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll go for a little walk.
Yeah.
And there's something nice about just taking that walk at a really nice, slow pace, listening to some nice music.
You're right there, because that's different. That's the difference. There isn't an end task there.
No,
is
it's just literally I'm doing it for myself, a leisurely walk, which is nice. One last thing about speed cameras, and then we'll put speed cameras to bed. Have you seen these new, not speed cameras, but when you drive past something and the light flashes up saying thank you.
Thank you.
If you're
Yeah.
driving under 30, that really works for me. I think.
It does for me as well.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love
Because
that.
you
I make
almost
an
feel
effort.
like you are actually not breaking the law and you're doing something right for which
Well
you've
done.
been saying.
Yeah.
And the other one, if you go a bit higher, it just says, it shows you your speed, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you slow down and goes, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think if they blew a virtual kiss at you, that would be even better, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Or they paid you some compliment, like you're a great driver.
Yeah, well
You're a
done,
very
you.
handsome driver.
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, your driving is as good as your looks or something
Yeah,
like that.
Now put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is certain situations that I've been in, driving wise, that really makes me think about, why am I doing this? Why am I going so fast?
Yeah.
And one of those is being on call.
Yes.
So Dad, you'll sympathise with this.
Yeah.
When you're on, when you get that phone call at 3:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
say, can you come in and do this, blah blah blah.
Mm.
Your mind is immediately set, right, I'm going to just bomb
Yeah.
it there, do the thing, and then come back and go to bed.
Mm.
But I'm thinking, well, whilst I'm doing that, the faster I do it, the more I'm setting myself up for something else happening whilst I come back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you
Because
mean.
sometimes what I'll do is I'll go on call and I'll be called out whilst I'm on call again. And I'm thinking, well, thank God I didn't rush it, because if I had,
Yeah.
You'd have
that
got
would
home.
bug me. That would bug me no end.
Yeah.
And it used to,
Twice.
honestly.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get home, as soon as you get home, the phone rings again. Now that's the worst feeling in the world.
That would be. You might as well have just set up camp there.
Yeah.
That's a bit, demoralising.
And that's a good point when we say when you're going out on call, you're speeding up. And I often used to wonder, what if I'm speeding at this time and the policeman gets me?
Yeah.
Would he buy my story? That's not happened. But what had happened, a similar situation, just to give you a bit more information, I was on London Road. You know the part of London Road going towards the town. There's two lanes. One is for buses and the other one is for cars.
Yeah.
So buses is usually empty and cars is hugely congested. And I was on call that day for Children's Hospital, which is on the North Street.
Yeah.
And this was about 4:00. So I was there. I thought, God, this is going to take ages. So at the mirror, my back view mirror, I noticed a police car quite a bit further back. And I thought, shall I? Because quite a people take a chance. So I did take a chance, and I went to the bus lane. And sooner I got there, the policeman was right on my back.
Rightly bloody so. You're right, little evil Knievel. You are when you're
No,
in the car.
listen. So he stopped and he said, do you know what this is? I said, yeah, officer, look, I'm so sorry, but I am an emergency caller. You can check this. This is my belief. He said, all right, okay, in that case, follow me.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
I took the lead. I just couldn't believe it. I thought,
Yes.
brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So they blue lighted you all the way to the hospital.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. They should do, though.
No, Dad, can I just double check this, though? You said you're going to the hospital, you're on call.
Yeah. I didn't give all the detail what I was going to do there. No.
Were you going to fix a light bulb?
Had I mentioned that, I probably wouldn't have.
Exactly.
But
He
no,
would have thought, okay, doctor, yes, okay.
So
Vending machines, bro.
this is emergency call, which is absolutely right. I was an emergency call out.
Yeah, they didn't know what the emergency
He
is.
didn't know, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sneaky.
No, it's not
It's not
sneaky.
sneaky,
I was
there's-
genuine with
Yeah,
telling
no,
them.
yes.
The fact that it turned out to be, I didn't volunteer. So, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go there to unblock a toilet.
Did you put your fake stethoscope on? Because Amelia's been looking for that.
Look, any situation where they bleep you out is an emergency. They don't
Yeah.
bleep you out for a blocked toilet.
Yeah.
I remember lifts. You used to get called out for lifts, so
Yes.
didn't you?
I mean, people
Or
try.
sometimes if a kettle is broken, they can't mash a cup of tea.
Yeah.
You're not helping yourself
That's
with that.
emergency.
If you don't get arrested at the end of this podcast, I don't know what's happening. You're right, Dark Horse, honestly.
But traffic violations, serious traffic violations aside, you got to from point A almost at point B, and then you've got the dreaded parking situation.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, parking is something that I just don't.
It's evil.
It's the whole reason why I don't like driving, because I know at the end of it I've got to park it bastard somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Mm.
Are you a reverse parker or do you park in a...
I'm doing a lot of reverse parking these days, only because of where I park now.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yeah, but I was just reading something in the newspaper the other day as to how much time people spend actually looking for parking spaces and how much money goes into that kind of stuff.
What, with regards to, like, how much they waste on
Yeah.
petrol and stuff?
How much
or-
goes on petrol, time, fines, actual,
Yeah.
the whole ins and outs of parking, really. But apparently, the average human will spend about 400 hours a year looking for
my
a parking
God.
space.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
400 hours?
Yeah. And if you think about it,
Jesus.
that more or less rings true, doesn't it? If
Yeah.
you haven't got an allocated parking space,
Yeah.
you do end up spending an all
You trade
amount of
around like a
time.
chump, yeah, definitely.
So just some figures here. £733, the annual amount spent by a motorist finding parking spaces once wasted time, fuel and emissions are factored in.
Yeah.
40% of drivers say they avoid driving to shops due to problems finding a space.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I agree.
shopping is the worst one.
Mm. I find local shops worse than supermarkets.
Mm.
The
Mm.
local shop parking situation is awful. And I don't know who designs parking spots.
Because they limit for only few cars.
Yeah, but it's like it's almost like they've designed them for an accident to happen. Whereas supermarkets is fine. It's all like nicely gridded and blocked and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that they're changing driving laws as well? They don't use 3-point turn. Well, they do 3-point turn still, but they're reversing around the corner. Aren't they changing that to parking in bays now? Because they think that's more of an important skill to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you didn't do that when you were driving, did you?
No.
No.
Or I'll tell you what else you don't do: multi-story car parks.
Mm.
I bet the first time you drove on a multi-story car park, you crapped it.
Yeah.
Do you remember which
Terrible.
one? Yeah,
At the end of the run, either up or down, you're dizzy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Mm.
definitely.
Yeah.
I remember it was Lancaster car park, and I managed to make it all the way down without hitting anything. And then when I got to the end, you got to pay, haven't you? Put the ticket in, and
Yeah.
I couldn't park it right to get the ticket in. And you have to get out your car and then unwind your window, and like people are honking their horn behind
Yeah.
you. Then you forget that you haven't actually paid. It's right faff, honestly. Parking is a pain.
Yeah.
There's no sight as pathetic as somebody having to open their car door to put a ticket into their machine.
But they don't do it the first time, do they? They try and you see the hand stretching,
Yes.
trying to get it. Then they realise they're not going to be able to do that, and then
Yeah.
they have to get out, unbuckle their seatbelt.
The worst one, though, where the ticking machine is sort of on a curve. So you can't really park right up to it,
Yes.
next to it. You have to be almost a bent car to be able to do that. Now, similar thing happened last week when we were, last year we went to Spain. I told you about that, haven't I? What happened to the barrier there.
Oh yes.
So when you're in the rental, you get the car keys and everything, and they give you a ticket to get out because you're coming out of the compound. And this is Spain again. It's lovely, isn't it? So I put the ticket in, and the barrier opened up, and then before I could get back to my position to drive, the barrier came down again. And then as I was about to sort of reach for the button to say, "Oi, what's happening here?" the barrier lifted up again.
toying with you.
Yeah, it was toying with me, absolutely. So I thought, oh, sod this. So I timed it by this time that if I'm quick enough, I can probably, by the time it's lifted and before it comes down, I can make it.
Did you?
So I concentrated on that bit, but unknown to me, because this is Spain again, the curves are about this high, about 4 foot high.
Oh god.
You know, so you got to be absolutely in line. So while I was concentrating to make sure that I don't hit the barrier,
Yeah.
guess what I did?
Mounted the
No, not mounted. I
Slide
hit
in.
it sideways.
Yeah.
So all the side of the car got really badly damaged. So that's another thing of, putting tickets in the barrier
Yeah.
control.
I don't know if we'd class that under a car mishap or computers taking over the world. That's a different podcast,
Yeah.
I think. isn't
I
it?
think it was the sensitivity of the barrier itself. I'm sure had I just kept my nerve, it probably wouldn't have come down.
Mm.
It's something to do with the distance of the sensor to see whether the car in the vicinity. If not, then the barrier goes down.
Yeah.
That's the idea. But
Yeah.
it was oversensitive. So
Definitely.
I'm not sure, but so that's a different story.
Yeah.
But it's needless stress
It
and
is, yeah.
anxiety, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the parking, have you noticed that when you're in a busy car park and you go in there and think, well, sooner or later somebody's going to leave and then I can use their space. And this particular time I was waiting and sure enough this gentleman came, quite a nice leisurely walk, gets into the car. Oh yeah, we're in here. That's
Yeah.
not too far. I'm sure he's going to go. What does he do? He
Texting.
goes in there, takes his time, winds the window down and opens his lunchbox.
Yeah.
Fills me with rage, honestly. Fills me with rage.
Oh, God. It didn't even have the courtesy to say, look, mister, don't wait for me because
Yeah.
I'm going to have a 3-course lunch here in my car.
Yeah.
Go and find another space.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Honestly, the douche factor increases tenfold when you're in a car park. And the busier the car park is, the more douchey people are as well.
Yeah.
People just stop letting you go through or anything like
Oh,
that.
it becomes very personal, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it
They
does.
say.
And you always feel like you're the most uninitiated, the most inexperienced person in these places, don't you? You always think that, oh, why everybody else seems to have got it together. They found a space.
Yes,
Why can't
yeah.
I
Why
find
can't
a
I find a
space?
space? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I that disorganized that? I mean, my shopping isn't like last minute. Oh, I need some fish. I need to go and get it quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You plan it.
You plan it. So
Hmm.
why is it that when you're at a car park or anywhere on the road, you feel like the least? I
Yeah,
don't know.
savvy
Do you know
guy,
what I
yeah,
mean?
no, I know what you
yeah,
mean,
savvy. Yeah, you don't
Ah.
feel like you've been doing this as long as other people have.
Mm.
Even though there's probably like a 16-year-old in the car next to you, he or she still seems like a bit more experienced than you.
Yeah. I think it's because you've got that stress factor in it. You just want to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't feel comfortable till you're parked.
Mm.
You get into that mode, stressful, oh, nobody loves me and why I've got this fate in me.
Yeah.
Everything goes
Yeah.
wrong for me.
And then you just park in the middle of the road and just walk off home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
do a
next-
Bill Bixby and just
The
leave.
next thing is you're going to get out of the car and punch somebody in the face straight
Yeah.
away for no reason.
Road rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you experienced road rage, Dad? Or
Well,
been
road
on the
rage
end of
is
it?
totally different kettle of
Yeah.
fish.
That's a
isn't it?
different story
That's
for
a
a
different-
different day. Dad uses reverse road rage.
Yeah.
Road love, Dad. Dad uses road love.
Yeah, but he knows what he's doing with it
Yeah.
though. He's
Yeah.
using road love to anger the other
Yeah.
person.
No, anger. They diffuse the situation.
You don't
You
do
don't
that.
diffuse
You get them
anything.
anger.
Diffuse the
Yeah.
situation in a very, very sort of churlish
Confuse-
way.
Confuse the situation, not diffuse
Yeah.
it.
Blowing a kiss at someone who's like, you've cut up.
Yeah. So, hang on. Just going back to these figures. I love figures. £30 billion is the total UK annual cost of time spent searching for a space, paying for unused parking, and being hit by penalties or overstaying. He's doing phenomenal amounts of money.
That
here, aren't
30
you?
billion.
Yeah.
Where did they get those facts from?
He usually does say where we got these.
Does it say
It'll
Office of
probably be
National
something like,
Statistics?
yeah, DVLA or something.
Yeah, there are lots of other factors in it, I'm
agency
sure. Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but London is the most most time that you'll spend looking for a parking space in London. I mean, some places I wouldn't even contemplate driving in London.
Yeah, that's
There's just no point, is there?
No.
I mean, I find Derby complicated with this ring road system sometimes.
Yeah, and tight parking spaces.
The point is, what can you do about this? This is way of life, fact
Yeah.
of life almost, isn't it? As long as you've got a car and people can't have it. Another thing is there more than one car per family now,
Yeah,
or per
Yeah.
household. That's another thing. 30 billion, that our UK's, the whole deficit is only about 100 billion, isn't it?
God.
So we only need 3 years to behave ourselves to pay that back.
Yeah, wow, that's insane.
There are ways, though, of getting around these things, and one of them is car sharing.
Oh yes.
Would you car share? I wouldn't. I'm open to the idea of car sharing.
I don't think I could car share. Actually, there's a few teachers at school who work. Who
Putting
live
aside
with
the
us.
practicality of, would you mind sharing a car with anybody?
Well, it all depends on how comfortable you are with other people in your car.
Mm.
My car's, you've seen my car. It's a bit of a mess.
Well, that's a good thing because you'll make some effort to make sure you keep it clean. So that's a benefit.
You get AA to do it. My car is dirty.
Hey, help me. Yeah. I know what you mean. No, I had to have someone in my car the other day and I kept saying, please don't go in my car. Can't we take your car?
Yeah.
My car's really smelly.
Yeah.
And I got my gym bag in there as well, haven't I? And they got a kid. When you got media there, I'm allowed to have a bit of a messy car.
These are really feeble excuses, Bassett. If
can I
he
just
came
say-
to crunch,
The other day there was a pita bread in my car. I didn't put the pita bread there. That was Amelia put the pita bread there. And do you know whose fault that pita bread was?
yeah.
Mum's.
No, it's not.
It is,
Forgiving
because
everybody.
every Thursday we're leaving, and then Mum says, "Oh, Amelia, would you like a pita bread, or would you like some chapati or something
Yeah,
like that?"
roti. Yeah.
And she's not going to say no.
No.
But what will happen is she'll look at it, fall asleep in the car, and then I've just got like a pita bread just landed there.
Yeah, but what you fail to clarify here, the reason Amelia wants pita bread, because she already knows there's a whole bit of kebab left.
And she goes, "Yeah, I'm going to finish that. I'm not an animal. I need to eat it with pita bread." Yeah. Yeah, she's got like a gourmet meal in the back
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
There is probably a 3-course meal in your car in
If
various
you had it
places.
all up,
there,
yeah. If you had it all up.
But what about you, Dad? Would you car share? I think your dad would be a good car sharer.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually.
Yeah.
Providing the person that I'm sharing the car with has a reasonable sense of humour, if nothing else, I think. Yeah.
And it doesn't object to you occasionally, like passing wind or speaking in this.
You don't do that, do you, Dad?
I do that a lot.
Do you?
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't deliberately do it, but it's call of nature. If it comes, it comes. Really.
Yeah. My
And you
issue
wind
would
the window
be
down.
my issue would be singing. I like to sing in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have to find somebody as musical as you.
Well, yeah. No, I don't sing well in the car, so I wouldn't want anyone to hear.
It's
my
not
singing.
singing. It's just
Screaming. Yeah.
yeah. Any old rubbish that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah, basically.
I do that sometimes to keep me awake.
Yes.
I find, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before.
I just go delirious almost, but just making strange noises like animals or different creatures, or singing completely out of tune, which I normally do anyway. But more so in that, so that wakes me up.
That sounds like the ramblings of a crazy person. I want to just have a nap.
I do have naps as well.
That's when you nap. Because I know you always do on your way
Oh
home.
God,
you
yeah,
have your nap, don't
because
you?
it's a long journey, hour and a bit. And the problem is, if you had a busy day at work, particularly winter months, it's dark outside. As soon as you get in, the music is running, there's a fan running, and it's just natural.
That's sensible. That you've got to have. Your
And the
nap.
only way
Well
to
done.
overcome it, and no good people saying, "Oh yeah, do this and the other," singing or craziness
If
doesn't
you
help.
need it, you need it.
Yeah.
So so if you're car sharing with Dad, expect him to like emit strange noises. What kind of noises? Like bird
No, if there
calls
was
and,
another person, you'd be fine because it's only when
stop
you're
you
on
from
the
doing
other.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, you'd be talking to them, wouldn't you?
It's interesting that you bring that up, Dad. Silly noises.
Yes, I know you're going to mention it, that you recorded me when
I didn't record it.
accidentally.
This is back in the day when Dad had first got a mobile phone and he accidentally pocket dialed me whilst he was in the car.
Yeah.
And the noise you were making and the singing you were doing, I can't even explain it, honestly.
Oh, don't, Buster, please, not here.
I wish I had that recorded.
Yeah.
Look, that sort of a joke is alright to share at a party, but not
No,
here.
not
please.
here, yeah. But I remember, like, you should have seen my face when I got the answer machine message. I was like, "Oh, Dad sent me an answer machine message. That's unusual." And you should have just seen the look on my face because I was listening to it, and I kept smiling and I realised the comedy gold that I had on my phone.
This is the best thing I've
This
ever
is the
heard.
best thing.
You realise it's Dad's number,
Yeah.
but it's an alien at the other end.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
happened here?
I bribed you with that for a good while, didn't I? Yeah.
And now I suppose you check that your phone is not able to
absolutely.
send any
Yeah.
calls whilst
Yeah.
you're driving.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to check. In
That
fact,
is-
I think that's why my battery went out, because I was too busy checking at my phone and recording
Any
of my
stupid-
weird
yes,
sounds.
yes,
sounds.
Yeah. You're
Uh,
right.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind car sharing. Keep a nice, clean car.
Yeah,
think it
you
would be
do
nice.
actually.
Well, then you
Travelling
can
companion.
share the expenses, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Would you charge someone if you were cash?
Oh,
Well, you do,
God,
you
that's
split
the whole
the cost
point.
of petrol, don't you?
I was looking at Uber driving the other day, you know. Uber. You
Yeah.
can become an Uber driver, can't you? I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those zero hour contracts, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as a full-time job, I wouldn't. But
No, not as a full-time job,
Yeah.
but just like a little bit of money on the side. I think Uber driving would be quite cool.
So how would it work? Because you've got a full-time job. you've got
I think
family
you've
kids.
got to get a special license for your car,
Yeah.
and you have to have a car that isn't 5 years old. It does turn out to be quite expensive.
Okay.
yeah.
But then,
And then you say these are the hours that I'm available, and if you get a call during those hours,
I
then
don't
you
think
go
it's a
out
call.
and
It's all done on an app, isn't it? So if the app beeps and says that there's someone in your area, do you want to take this? And then you take
Yes,
it. I
then
mean,
you
that's
take it.
roughly how I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I don't know if there's a call for it in Derby or not, but
That's different though, isn't it? Because I know we're sort of going off a tangent. That's not car sharing. It's taking a big responsibility of driving.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminded me, car sharing, isn't there a legality somewhere that you're carrying a passenger who's
Like
not
insurance.
insured? Who's not insured, so probably you have to amend your insurance. I'm not sure.
Don't know.
There might be something to that. Well, if you check that out,
Yeah.
Car sharing. No, I've never.
Because I have to have a different grade of insurance than you lot. Because I use car for work.
Yes, yeah.
Business.
You would have to,
Slightly
wouldn't you?
more,
Of course.
Me
yeah.
too, yeah, because I do on call.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, you do, don't you? Yeah, absolutely.
What else have you got there, Umar?
So we covered car sharing. Just generally, any other funny stories? What do you like when you're stuck in traffic and do you look around and see what's going on? I'm just thinking because I'm looking at my phone. I took a picture of this van the other day.
Oh,
I love seeing like slogans on the back of vans.
Yeah,
And there was-
normally I wouldn't take much notice, but if you're in a long queue, say on motorway, which is sort of
Still.
stale, and then you start looking around, what are the people thinking or doing? Especially when there's a good pause where you stop the car and people get out and have
Yeah.
a stretch. And everybody's keen to know what's happening at the front, so they
I
will
love
start
that.
walking.
They don't even walk. They get out and they look.
They
And then
look.
get back in.
Yeah, but they see where it is, and they even probably go a bit further. Say if you're around the bend
Yeah.
or something to see what's happening.
Can't see anything. Yeah.
Human nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is human nature. I think people, when they're driving, they're very restricted on in their car.
Yeah.
They're boxed in. You would never think of leaving it.
No.
Like the other day, I was stuck in traffic and I had this empty Coke bottle, and I don't like rubbish accumulating in my car. I'm not like you with the pitted breads and donut meat in the
Oh
car.
god, the amount of bottles I got in my car.
And there was a bin on the other side, so I thought, oh, well, I'm stuck in traffic. I'll just turn the car off,
That's quite brave.
go across, and just throw it in the bin.
What happened?
I didn't do it. In the end.
Oh, you didn't do it?
Because
Okay.
it's just not normal, is it? People
No,
don't
they're
do
not.
things like that, do they?
No.
But yeah, I think we're because we're too reliant on cars. We're too reliant on cars boxing us in, being in the car at all times. And stuff. I mean, the number of times you could drive to work if you were a bit early, you could just get out and just admire the scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, we don't do that.
We don't
No,
do that,
we
do
don't.
we?
No, we
And
don't
this is the
enjoy
whole thing.
journey.
This is the whole. I mean, this is kind of what the podcast is about. It's not just reliance on cars. It's the psychology of
A to B.
A to B.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
And we've not obviously talked about alternative to the car. Obviously, walking is one, but
Yeah.
local transport, sometimes people like that. And, that's a different world altogether. If you're
Yeah.
regularly going in a bus, you meet people.
Yeah.
You can, without even actually having a conversation or a detailed dialogue about anything, you get to know these people,
Yeah.
somehow,
Yeah.
don't you?
Mm.
Oh, he or she's going to the same place. I wonder what she does. Where
Yeah.
she gets off there or gets off. Or if you've not seen somebody for a few days, you think,
Yeah.
I wonder what happened.
What happened?
Yeah.
I hope they're okay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Archie will tell me lots of stories about
Characters on the bus.
characters on the
Yes.
bus, what people do and how. As I said, that's a different world. I don't know about you, but last time I've been in a bus must be about 15 years ago, probably even longer. I can't remember.
I had,
Bus,
I had to do it a few years ago for work because my car was in for an MOT.
Yeah.
I just remember falling asleep in the bus.
Yeah.
It was so tiring and so hot. I brought music as well, but still, knackered.
Mm.
I do it on nights out because a lot of the nights out I go out in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get the bus into town and then the bus to Nottingham.
Mm.
And that's usually quite nice because you're just chilling,
Yeah.
music on.
There
That's
is
quite nice.
something about being not driving, just looking at the scenery, because I noticed this distinctly with the train. Because if you're going to Birmingham, and normally the train runs to similar sort of route to where the A38 is.
Yeah.
And there are places that I've never noticed. But when you're sitting in the train, you say, oh my God, I didn't realize that factory's there. Because when
Yeah.
you're driving, you focus just on that.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage from that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Too.
You need to look out at the world outside of your car window or your
Yeah.
bus window.
Yeah.
And public transport, you can do that a bit better, can't you?
Yeah.
That's interesting, actually. Me and Mel were talking today. We're going to take Amelia for the first time to Nottingham on a train
Mm.
in the summer because, Nottingham's going to have that beach thing in the centre.
Ah.
So we got planned because Amelia's always on about going on a train.
That'd be
Yes.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Buster,
she's not been in a bus, so we'll take a bus into town. She'll love it. The only time she's been on a bus is when we were abroad. and we were getting to our hotel.
Yeah.
And she loves that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Well, you need to get her acquainted with this sort of thing, because when she's growing up now, she'll be using buses quite a lot to, perhaps not to school, but to go to other places.
Yeah,
where she's
to
friends
town and
things
stuff.
like that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
she'll be using that, and train
Public
similarly.
transport.
Yeah.
I used to. God, I don't know if you remember, but I can't remember if you were part of the 33 club or not. Did you used to get the 33 into town?
33 club.
From here?
Yeah.
From Dad's house?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They used to take a really tight road
Yes.
into town, like Uttoxeter Roadway, and there's
Yeah.
some really tight bits. And the spaces those bus drivers got through. You know when you're looking and you think, he's going to clip something. He's going to clip the side of that car.
Yeah.
And they never clipped
They never
it.
do.
No.
And I just think, how do bus drivers learn to do that?
That is a
And to
skill.
get that good at driving?
Yeah.
within-
But I think it always one of these things that always looks worse from the inside than it is. Yeah.
at the front,
Yeah.
because you're kind of at the back of it, aren't
Yeah.
you? So you're not seeing it swing round.
It's the ability of being able to judge what's outside, how much area you've got to maneuver.
But you drive to work, you use the same route every day, but there's a bit of space, isn't there, from like 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock the next morning. What about bus drivers? People who drive the same route.
Yeah.
I mean, they must do that route about, 7-8 times a day?
I think so, but do they mix their routes? Or do they do the same
No,
route?
they
Do you
don't
have
do
Jeff
the
who
same
does
driver,
it?
isn't
Oh
it?
my good lord.
Sometimes
it
you
is.
see the exchange of the driver, don't you? So you
Yeah.
actually see a bus driver waiting at a bus stop,
Yes.
which is always a weird sign. That's always a weird sign.
Like a bus
Why-
driver, yeah, all
yeah,
kitted
yeah.
out, ready, yeah.
Why is that bus driver waiting at a bus stop?
That's the very definition
Yeah.
of a busman's holiday. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, get out there, see things, and I mean, if you car share and then you're talking to someone, it's all about making the experience less monotonous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember in my first year of teaching, in fact, I wrote about this. You know how we're writing our little book?
Hmm.
With how are we doing with that anyway? Have we written any more chapters for that book?
Not for a while. I'm working on one, but I'm stuck on it.
What a chapter, yeah.
Writer's block.
Right, yeah. We had like a year long writer's book. But anyway,
Yeah.
last summer, I wrote for the book.
Yeah.
You know when you think you've got all the time in the world and you're trying to be a bit new age and take it and be a bit more green. In my first year of teaching, I walked to work, and I was convinced it wouldn't take me that long. It was the end of the school year, so everything was just a lot more chilled.
Yeah.
And I remember walking and then realising that I was no way going to make it on time to work, so I started to try and run, and it was a really hot day, and I'd eaten a lot of the food the night before.
Mm.
Anyway, I had to embarrassingly ring work and say, I'm going to be really late. I'm so sorry, I thought I could walk and get in on time, and the guy on the phone was like, okay, I'll see you when you get in. But anyway, when I saw him, when I rang work, I just at that point saw a taxi, and I managed to flag it down New York style, and he stopped. And I go, school, step on it, I'm late.
Yeah.
And then I managed to get to school, and I wasn't actually that late. And I remember getting to school, because I'd been walking and running, and I was so hot and eating so much, I was really dizzy.
Yeah.
And then my class came in, my form came in, and I remember there was one kid just looking at me. And you know when someone looks at you and they think that, sir's not right, sir doesn't look right. And I said, Dom, what's wrong? Why do you keep looking at me like that? He goes, nothing, sir, it's fine. I go, okay, that's fine. Can you keep reading your book then? And then I could see spots in front of me. And then I looked up again, and the kid was still looking at me, he had like a look of horror in his face. And then that was it.
Yeah.
Well, you fainted.
I didn't faint, I threw up.
Yeah.
But in the class.
Yeah, the class.
Oh
I managed
my
to
God.
at that point I said, Dom, stop looking at me.
Yeah.
Kids, go into Mrs. Smith's room. I'll be in the And so I think one kid saw me throw up into a bin. So
That wasn't very good,
Yeah.
boss. I mean, normally you're able to control these things. You know it's coming.
you know what? That threw me. That completely
Yeah.
threw me.
Mhm.
But it was the fact that I just remember it thinking, I've got all the time in the world. It'd be nice to walk to work. And you know when you judge a distance?
Yes.
I completely misjudged that distance. Misjudged
Yeah.
it. Like Victory Road, basically. You know where Victory Road is.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
long,
a long
Yes.
stretch. Yeah, you're quite right.
I suppose you do that less now, though, because you run everywhere, don't you?
Well, I think that was a problem. Because I'm used to running places.
Yeah, boss could have ran if his
Yeah,
stomach
if-
was
if-
full of kebab for the previous.
If I'd known that I was running it, I must have thought that my walking time would be my running time.
Yeah.
But I just misjudged it so badly. And I remember wearing Toms as well,
Yeah.
which are the shittest shoes to walk in.
Yeah.
And I remember everything was against me. I was like, why am I wearing the worst
Yes.
shoes?
Yeah.
Why did I eat so much the night
Yeah.
before? Why is it such a hot day? And then,
Toms are bad. They're like the kind of shoes that even if there's like a tiny pebble, it feels like you stepped on like a big rusty nail.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I can't see the point of shoes like that. What's the point? The whole point of shoes is to protect your soles, basically.
But don't let that put you off walking, boss.
No, I'm done with
You
walking.
calculate the distance a bit better.
I felt so embarrassed on such an idiot.
Or maybe drive part of the way and walk the rest of the way.
This is a man who can run London Marathon, but he can't walk a few yards to the school.
I can't. And stairs do it for me as well. I can't do stairs.
Now, that is interesting, because I always get worried. When I reach the top of the stairs, even the 2 or 3 flights,
Yeah.
I'm totally breathless. I can't talk to anybody. I have to
No, me
wait a few
too.
minutes before I can get the breath back.
Yeah.
But you're very fit. I didn't think that would affect you.
No, stairs. I've got to... Because there's... my department's... one of the classrooms is right at the top floor.
Yes.
There's only 3 flights of stairs. And I always run up to go and say something to them or like let them know about a work-related thing. And I have to say, just give me a second.
Yeah.
Catch my breath. I think it must be the air's thinner. up there.
No, it's a different, I suppose it's different steps. It's
Yeah.
quite an energetic thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're moving horizontally as well as vertically.
It's climbing, isn't it? We don't climb things regularly in
that's
our
true.
lives.
No. But yeah.
So, just a final point that I want to make, well, one of the points, is transportation in the future. How do you think? Do you think we'll still be relying on cars? Or will there be some miraculous invention?
Dad, as an energy man, do you know anything?
I don't know anything, but I would love to. I'll tell you what my fantasy is, to wear one of these suits that will fly me to work.
A flying suit? Like Iron Man?
Yeah, there is something available already, isn't it? Not commercially.
Is it? A
Yeah.
jetpack?
Yeah, a
thing?
jetpack. Sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So you're thinking more about air travel, aren't you, and things. Let's think really outside the box here. Let's think, is there a way of just...
You mean transporter? Really?
Yeah,
transporter, or making you think that you're in a different place?
Well, like virtual reality?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
See, this is one of the things that I was thinking. I went to Spain recently.
Yes.
And I was in the airplane, high up. And I was thinking, hang on, is that plane actually moving forward? Or does it just go up there and then the Earth just turns so that Spain is underneath the plane?
Yeah. Nobody's proved it.
Because the Earth is turning whilst you're up there, isn't it?
But it doesn't stay up there that long for it to do 360 degrees for you to reach there. It only takes 2 hours.
Exactly, yes.
So that theory doesn't work.
Yeah.
That theory doesn't work for so many reasons.
Go on, boss.
If that was happening for everyone, then the world would just constantly be like shifting and turning for everyone. Like every single plane that went up at that point
Yes.
would have to shift and turn for everyone.
Yeah. For people who are traveling traveling in the direction where the Earth isn't turning, like say America,
Yeah.
it would have to actually,
No.
the plane would have to move to America. But what about places where the direction of the Earth's orbit is already where you're going anyway?
I can see where it was coming from,
Yeah.
theory. No, listen. If the Earth is round and Britain's here and Spain is over there,
Yeah.
yes?
You're giving this way too
No,
much time. Okay.
listen. So if you can elevate yourself above enough and then just suspend yourself there and wait until Spain gets to this round,
Yeah, and then
and
just
then you
drop back
come
down
down
again.
again.
Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of like, how long would that take? That would take a year, wouldn't it? Because
No, it won't take a year.
no.
It'll take 24 hours.
No. That's the Earth spinning.
Yeah, well, in
the sun,
relative
isn't it?
terms,
That's
a
not-
portion
yeah,
of 24 hours, whatever it is, I don't know.
We've gone way off topic here, but it's an interesting thing. And it brings me to the point, like, I think way into the future, way into the future, it won't be a case of humans moving from A to B. It'll be A moving towards the
Yes.
human, or B moving towards a human.
I think before that happens, we'll have wormholes or some sort of
this
transportation
is the kind
type
of
thing.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
particle type.
Well,
movement.
but that would work if the movement was just linear. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
But say if...
We'll draw some diagrams.
It's a puzzler, isn't it?
Yeah,
that
it's a
one?
puzzler.
Yeah.
It's not really though. It's not going to happen. Yeah.
If it was on a horizontal plane, then it wouldn't. You have to move yourself into that position for it to meet you in that linear situation, if you know what I mean. Oh my God.
Because I'm terrible at stuff like that. People say, "I've got to fly to America." Well, the flight to America is 4 hours, but then America is 6 hours behind. So, what in effect have you actually flown? Have you flown the 2
Oh, I
hours?
see what you mean. Yeah, that does get confusing.
That does get confusing. But really, we need to think long and hard about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You two do that.
Yeah, physically, forget about transporting yourself.
Okay.
in your mind
but
just think
closer
that
to
you
that,
are-
Omar, working remotely or working from home. I know in most cases probably you can't do. In Bassett cases you can't. You've got to interact with the pupils. But even that, I mean, you could project your image, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Online or whatever. So there's a classroom, kids are there.
Yeah.
Well, kids don't have to be because they can project their own images. So
Yeah.
there's a classroom, virtual classroom,
Yeah.
and everybody's at home
Yeah.
in front of a camera projecting their images into this focal point
Yeah.
with a teacher as a virtual person
Yeah.
standing there doing that. So
And
that could be done.
There'd be no issue of like, where do I park my virtual self?
Yeah, true, because I can
Yeah.
just park myself on like
Anywhere, yeah.
anywhere, yeah.
So what about the things where you have to do some practical work? Then that wouldn't work.
No.
would it? Say somebody's got to fix a machine somewhere
Yes.
and they've got to go
Yeah.
there to do that.
I mean, if you're working on an oil rig, you've got to go to that oil rig to do
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
stuff that they do on the oil rig. Isn't
But then you get robots to do that. Could you not?
it?
Yeah. I think you could. But then the robot could just do what that person's doing instead of that
Yeah.
person's brain.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, perhaps we don't need humans at all.
Well, let's not broadcast that because I want to stay in a job.
Yeah, don't talk yourself out of an existence.
Yeah. The only thing that you can't have a robot doing is podcast, so we're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, whilst we've been doing this podcast, we've moved.
We moved, yeah?
We're not in the same place we were when we started this podcast.
That's deep.
You mean moved as in, oh, what a brilliant piece of crap we've done, or moved
Well,
as
it
in...
moved some people's
like a bowels
emotions
have
and
moved.
stuff. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, I think
Yeah.
you want to be calling it a day.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening, guys. If you've got any interesting travel stories, would you car share? Would you not car share? Do any of you speed or break the law?
Yeah.
If you're a law operative listening and there's some evidence that you've got here against us, please just ignore it.
Yeah.
This is all fabrication.
Yeah.
No,
None of
a
this is
thread
true.
of truth in it.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So that's another Siddiqui Ramblings wrapped up. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd love to get involved, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. So that email address again is thesiddiquisgb@gmail.com. We're aiming to make this podcast a weekly episodic podcast, and that can only be done through reviews. So if you guys could review us, 5-star reviews on iTunes, that would be a massive, massive help to get the word out. So the more reviews, the better. Until next time, it's bye from Bassett Siddiqui.
And it's bye from Siddiqui.
And it's bye from Umar Siddiqui.
See ya.